Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to Manifest with me, Rebecca G. I'm your manifestation, meditation, and mindset coach who blends equal measures of soul, strategy, and a little sprinkle of science on the side. Consider me your modern day pink witch with my spiritual toolbox packed full of ideas to energize and inspire you, and to put the action into the law of attraction. Let this podcast be your weekly fix because, my beautiful soul, it is time to turn your vision board into a reality. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm so excited to finally, you would all laugh at this, finally come to record with Kimberly. This is what, the fourth attempt we've had? So I was ill, I lost my voice, lost my internet, then Kimberly lost her. You didn't lose your voice, you lost your internet as well, didn't you? And then today
Yeah.
the heating and a bobble hat. That's why I'm recording this on a bobble hat and like loads and layers of jumpers. But I'm like, we are recording this today. Like today is the day that we get to spend time with the beautiful Kimberly. So tell us all about you. And then you can tell us all about, is it Feng Shui? Is that how I say it? Have I said it right?
You can say it however you
Feng
want to say
Shui.
it. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you, universe, for making this actually happen. Eventually we've made it, and we just had a technical issue just then that you may actually not know of by the time this is edited.
It's a lot about our personal development as well, that we just giggle about this. We're like, oh, well, it's obviously not meant to be. Oh, good.
Totally, just go with it. So I am finally here, and my name's Kimberly Gallagher, and I am a Feng Shui consultant. You can say Feng Shui, Feng Shui, Feng Shui, it doesn't matter. It's all the same term. And I am on this absolute mission to spread the word about Feng Shui because it's a term some of us have heard of, but we don't really know what it means yet. The term manifestation, the term like law of attraction, that's all becoming so much more mainstream now. But for some reason, Feng Shui has just been left in the dark. So I want to spread the word. I want to tell you that it's not all about having crisp white furniture, because I've got a family, I've got a dog, I'm a naturally really messy person. So it's not about having all your furniture aligned and beautifully laid out in your house. It's about energy in the home. And my job as a Feng Shui consultant is to create a flow of energy in your home. And the way I describe it is, if you've ever had acupuncture, and the remedy for releasing those energy blocks in your body is by using needles at different points around your body. And we do the same in the home. So we use remedies based on the 5 elements. So we use water, fire, wood, earth, and magic metal. And we use that to release those energy blocks in your home so that the good energy can flow and the bad energy can just get eaten up and destroyed and let out of the back door.
I'm so interested to learn about this because, well, as you know, I'm well into manifesting crystals, and it's just good to know where to put stuff. So first, tell us like the history of Feng Shui. That's how I say it, Feng Shui. I'm glad
Yeah,
I said it wrong. I thought I was going to come on here and you were like, no, that's not how you say it. But tell me like the history of it, like where it comes from. Like tell us a little bit about like where, yeah, like just the history of it really.
So it's over 4,000 years old, and it comes from China, from the Chinese aristocrats, if you like, and it has been incorporated in so many buildings around the world. And the thing that got me was the modern day Feng Shui. Like, how is it being used now without us even realizing? And one of the big elements of Feng Shui is moving water. So sometimes you might see in front of hotels, in front of apartment buildings, in front of stately homes, they'll have a fountain of sorts. So think of Dubai, think of Las Vegas. And when flowing water is placed in the right area, that is done to attract wealth, abundance, and prosperity. So a lot of shopping centres around, the ones that I can think of as well, from down here, like Blue Water's got a huge lake outside the front. Where I grew up in Nottingham, there's one there. They're all over the place. And so that's often used to bring in the wealth, that, that lovely, bubbling, moving water. You can imagine it pushing the good energy around. So that's often used today. And again, we don't know it's Feng Shui, but we often see them go, oh, isn't that lovely? But it's there for a reason.
There's me
So
thinking, my driveway, I wonder if I could put a massive Las Vegas. I'm joking.
so
I'm like,
we do use water, but I call myself more of a modern day Feng Shui consultant, because you're right. People think, oh shit, I've got to put this huge fountain in my driveway. I've got to put this in, my back garden. And I think that's how Feng Shui has evolved. And that's how I want to evolve it, is that it has to fit around modern day living. So the ideal house is this beautiful rectangle, the stately home, that, doll's house sort of look. That's your perfect Feng Shui house, because we divide the house into 9 equal areas according to the compass. So obviously, if your house is rectangle, that makes life a lot easier. If you live in an L-shaped house, then it might mean that some of those key areas that we look at are missing. And so that's what we look at when I do an analysis of a home. I look at the shape of your home. I look at when it was built. I look at if you've had any extensions, because sometimes that then makes, parts of the house jut out a little bit. So my job is to make the house happy again. And our house is this really old cottage. It was built in 1569. So you can imagine like all the stuff that's gone on in our house, and all of that has been absorbed into the walls, into the floor, into the roof. And so when I did an analysis, we look at whether it's good or bad for people, and we look at if it's good or bad for money. And our house was bad for people, bad for money, and it was in a money lock as well. So it couldn't have been a worse situation. Really.
Oh my God. Did you know that?
I know.
The house, or was it after?
Did you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just felt with our house that, I started a product-based business just before lockdown, which was obviously a genius idea. And I felt like I was banging my head against a brick wall doing business. I'd gain momentum and then something would happen, and I'd gain momentum and something would happen. And I listened to a lady who I did my certification program with on a podcast, just randomly, how the universe just throws these things at you going, hey, I think you should listen to this. And I thought, do you know what? I think our house needs a bit of a helping hand. Like, there was nothing was wrong, but I just felt that, for example, like our kitchen, the energy in the kitchen was quite stressy, because that's where we eat. My daughter does her homework. That's where my daughter and husband come into the house. So that energy from school and work just sort of accumulates. And I just thought, I think our house needs to flow a little bit more. And going back to manifestation, I truly believe Feng Shui can be the missing piece of the manifestation puzzle, because I was manifesting. I had the post-it notes everywhere. I was doing my affirmations. I was meditating. I was on the cusp of manically manifesting, that I know you've spoken about as well, where you're like, why isn't it happening? But Feng Shui is all about intention. And just as you think you're putting the needles in for acupuncture, the intention there is to relieve that stress in the body. My intention was to have a business that flowed, and that was easy, and that was completely remote. And at the time, Feng Shui being a Feng Shui consultant just wasn't on my radar. And I put all the remedies in the house, and sometimes that can cause a bit of effervescence, because if you think you're changing the energy that's been there for a long, long time. So sometimes it can be a bit fractious for, a little bit, but actually ours was okay. And then about 3 or 4 weeks after, I had an email from the lady who did my Feng Shui analysis to say that she was doing her final certification program ever, and was looking for applications for it. And when you just get that feeling to go, I've got to do this. Yeah. I've really got to do this. But it was a lot of money. As in, it was a conversation with your partner sort of type of money, not something that you can just squirrel away in the background.
You're like, hey,
yeah.
Anything me and my husband's like, what now?
Yeah. Now, bearing in mind, I'd not even told him that I'd Feng Shuied our house, because I think No, because it was like the end of lockdown, and I think he would have just thought it's the straw that's broken the camel's back. Like she's finally gone.
What is going on? Absolute weirdo. Yeah. I remember doing like when we moved into this house, I had a lady that came and saged and very witchy kind of ritual she did on the house. She offered to do it. She's one of my customers. And the difference of the energy in the house afterwards, even my husband was like, I don't know what she did. That was just a bit weird. Her walking around with sage everywhere, and she was like chanting and stuff. I mean, it probably wasn't like a feng shui thing, but she said she was doing feng shui stuff, clearing energy. I remember at the time her telling me to put things in certain places. I think I forgot most of it, but it definitely changed the energy of the house. We felt really different in it, and even my husband said, I don't know what she did, but it definitely felt different. So did your husband notice afterwards? Did he go,
Yeah, he did.
It was good.
He did, and I mean, he's totally on board now. It was the 25-kilo metal plate underneath the sofa. When he found that, he was like, what
oh my God, I don't know, tell me about this. What's that?
So each house is calculated down to the point of, we look at your square footage, your floor plans, all of that. And because our house is quite old and it was bad for money, bad for people, all the bad, you need metal, and the metal just absorbs the energy. It cuts through that bad energy, but you don't have to have it on view. So for me, I managed to sort of hide it underneath sofas and around the house. It's not a huge amount, but the difference, I can't tell you. When you walk into a hotel and you get that peaceful, calm, like stable feeling, that's what it felt like, and that's what it still feels like. And the reason why it links to manifestation, I believe it links to manifestation, is because when you clear the noise, that's when you can hear the nudges. And the nudges from the universe to say, try this. Have you thought about this?
This metal plate, any metal plate, you can put it anywhere in the house, or is it specifically you've got to bring it
So
out?
it needs to be specifically where in your house you need it. So I would only recommend that if I did a full analysis for you. So quite often people will move to a house and maybe their health, or somebody in their family, their health isn't quite what it was or what it should be, or finances are harder than they should be, or relationships are harder than what they should be. Then that's when I can give you, it's almost like having a personalized PT plan, like personal training plan of, these are your exercises, this is the food that you need to eat. And then you get the real results. But there's loads of stuff you can do in your home without having to have that full analysis. And that's why I love it, because there's lots of little things you can do. So like my biggest thing is getting rid of the bad energy in your home. So the bad energy leaves our home through our back door. And it sounds really simple, but every day, just open your back door. And if you don't mind people hearing you, just literally say out loud, go on, off you go, get out the house. Yeah, exactly. I don't need you around here anymore. Thank you very much.
It's funny you say that, because when Harley was going through like teething baby phase and I was like real stressed, I would just this was in lockdown, so we didn't see anybody. I would just open the back door and be like, oh, I'm so done with this energy. I used to say that at the back. How funny that
Wow.
that feng shui thing is all without even realizing. I'd be like, we've got like a slidey door. I would just be like, like in what's it, Ace Ventura, when he like pulls the door back and forth. I'm like, oh. Yeah. I was literally like that. My husband's like, you're mental. I was like, it really helps. I think it's the fresh air.
It does help. And that's the thing, a lot of feng shui, like, ignore the metal bit, because that's the bit that blows a lot of people away, like, oh, but a lot of feng shui, anything. I know. Well, a lot of feng shui makes sense, that, and sometimes, in feng shui as well, with a person, I can tell you which direction to sit in for you to be the most powerful. So for me, it's the direction that we're sat in here. But if I say to people, like, if you go to a restaurant or you sit down in a room or around your dinner table, you'll have your spot. And if you sit somewhere else, it feels weird. And it's just that feeling that you get. So the feeling of opening that back door, it's like a release, like the release of bad energy. So on the flip side to that, so once that bad energy's gone, close it, and then go and open the front door. And the front door is where the good energy comes in. So we mustn't forget to do that, especially if you're a house where sometimes people only use their back door, that sometimes the front door isn't left open, and don't get me wrong, it's freezing at the minute, so you're not going to do it for very long, but just open it slightly, and I just stand there and waft in the good energy, and that's where it comes in.
A daily ritual. You could just bring
Yeah.
it. You do it when you're like, my child takes so long to get his coat and shoes on in the morning. You could do it
Yeah,
there.
do it then. Yeah. And also your windows. So your windows are where the good energy also comes in. So you need to clean your windows on the inside and out.
Yes.
And again, that's a bit like, oh God, I mean, there really is an unglamorous side to Feng Shui. But cleaning your windows and opening the curtains is literally like we all know we're surrounded by good energy. So we need to let it in our homes. And what can happen, because we keep the curtains closed, we keep the doors closed, that we give off all this negative anxiety energy from what just happens in the day, but it doesn't go anywhere. And so it just festers in the home. And that's when things can get and just feel a little bit edgy.
We get our windows cleaned and they do in and out. And no joke, whenever they come and they do the inside, they come every, like, I think 8 to 12 weeks they come. And my phone goes crazy with bookings or inquiries online, or like my booking for both my businesses go mental when we have our windows cleaned. It's so bizarre. We always joke about it within our household. Like Kevin's like, "Oh, you're going to be busy in clinic soon because the windows are getting cleaned in a few days." And it always happens. Like it's like so that's really interesting to hear.
You're letting it in.
Yeah,
you're absolutely letting it in.
If you want to be part of a powerful community of like-minded soul sisters, goal-getters and big dreamers, then the Sacred Souls membership could be for you. This is my new monthly moon meditation and manifestation membership for women who want to learn how to manage their mind, attract their dream life, and blend equal measures of mindset and spiritual development into their life. You'll get to turn your vision board into your reality and do this alongside supportive coaching from myself and be alongside like-minded, soul-aligned community of women. I am so excited to bring this to you. It's starting in January 2023. Jump in now, check out the link in the bio. It's just £19 to join, and I'm keeping it that low for a very short time. So jump on in there and sign up today, because I can't wait to have you in my space and just pour even more love into you.
And the other thing I'll say as well is with your manifestation, that in the Feng Shui style that I learned, we go with the compass. So the compass is like our best friend, and I've constantly got the compass on my phone, in front of me, turning around in people's houses, seeing what's going on. And because the house is divided into 9 different areas, all of these areas are linked to a specific area of your life. So if you go on my website, thefengshuiflow.com, my free download is that whole list, because there's no point me going through it all now. But a really key one that we use is the southeast corner of your home is your wealth, prosperity, and abundance corner.
So I want to check that I've been telling my girls, write this. So if I was stood with my back to the front door, what I've always been told is that's the furthest left corner. So like this is my front door here behind me, looking into my house. The furthest left corner of my home is where you put your wealth corner.
So this is where Feng Shui can sometimes become a bit complicated, because that's Western school of Feng Shui is that you go by your front door. But if you want to dive just a little bit deeper,
yes, we do.
Just go with the geography. So stand in the center of your home. I mean, try it. You might move your stuff and think, actually, this isn't quite working. But if you stand in the center of your home with your compass on your phone and work out where north and south is, and you might know because of where the sun rises and sets.
Yeah.
But just keep turning in a circle until you found the southeast. And then just head as far as you can in that direction. And then that will be your wealth, prosperity, and abundance corner.
The southeast,
yeah,
is your wealth and prosperity corner, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is where, again, the theory of decluttering, there's another level to decluttering, because decluttering stops that energy flow around your house. So I always say, like, the bad energy is like the Dementors from Harry Potter. Like, if you think they just sort of like whoosh through the house, but think of an angelic, good energy version of that. So this lovely white, angel comes into your house of good energy. everything that is in its way takes a little bit of its power away. So by having that decluttering, that free flow of energy around your house means that that beautiful angel of good energy can travel around.
If you're listening to this on a podcast, Kimberly's floating around like she's an actual angel. If you're watching this on YouTube, so she's like this. It's so cute. Watching her, I'm such a visual. Like now I've got this vision of like angel floating through my home. It's wonderful. And tell me about clutter, like generally within the home, like junk drawers. Does that have a big impact on us manifesting and things like that? I know for me, like I can't even record a podcast episode without having a tidy desk. I'm like, I have to have it all tidy and then I can do stuff. Is that like feng shui as well? Like is there
it is. You are already there. So things in drawers aren't so bad. Like we have what I call death drawers in our house. I have my own death drawer. My husband has it. Because what you might find in there, I don't know, you'll just get lost for hours. However, the clutter around your house stops that flow of energy. The kitchen is also really closely linked to prosperity. So stuff all over your kitchen surfaces, the stove, like the hob, keeping that clean, that's a way that the prosperity comes in, like your sink as well, keeping that clear of pots. But the other thing with clutter is actually, what is the clutter? So if, for example, you have a bookshelf or even your loft, so we go as deep down into your loft and your garage, if you've got stuff there,
God, you're not going near my loft. That is literally like Christmas decorations. Push it in further, get the suitcases in, Harley's baby clothes in case we have another baby boy. Like it's awful in there. When I'm like, Kevin, can you get the Christmas decorations out? Not because I'm scared about going in there, but because it's like a shit tip and I hate it. And I'm like, I hate the clutter.
Do you know what? It's fine. There's certain things that in there that are fine. Christmas decorations, suitcases, baby clothes, all things like that. But just think of it as that energy is then coming down on you from upstairs. So if you're sleeping underneath it, like what is in there? So things like things from previous jobs. So if you're manifesting a new job, for example, if you've got P45s and pay slips, which is what I had. I even had lanyards from like 20 years ago when I worked in places. All of those things are going to stop because what you're saying is like, I'm not ready to move on because I'm still holding on to this. So like on your bookshelf as well, do you have books from previous jobs, things that you've learned previously? Or do you have, if you're looking to travel, do you have travel books on there? Or just like you were saying about if you're wanting to expand your family, artwork is really important because your artwork is a visual affirmation because you see it all the time. So you would perhaps then look at, say, if you're a family of 3 or you don't have any children yet, but you're wanting to expand your family, having pictures of what your ideal family looks like up is that visual affirmation. And that's so, so powerful. And if your affirmation is to travel, for example, then have photos up that when you see it, it just lights you up. And, going back to the manifestation, the way I like to describe it is you might have all the tools in the world. So it's like having a mobile phone in the middle of the woods. You've got the tools to make the call, but your environment won't let that signal out. And it's the same in your home. So you have all of those tools, but if you're clouded by dark, negative energy and energy blocks, it doesn't matter what you do, because this was me, it doesn't matter what I did, that signal wouldn't go. And as soon as I cleared the energy, on a sixpence, it turned. And here I am just 1 year later, a Feng Shui consultant when it wasn't even part of any of my dreams, but I opened my manifestation up to say, I just want a business. Forget that I want it to be this business. I want a business. And then the energy cleared and all of those nudges made sense.
That's so interesting, because I was in a similar business to you for a long time, an online business, and they had lots of merch and I had lots of booklets and brochures and like so much stuff. And then over Christmas, I just got rid of it all out of my house, got rid of the clutter. And afterwards, my other business then exploded.
like literally had to sell out products over Christmas that I was selling, my Sacred Souls boxes. And I know it's because I got rid of that old stuff that I was hanging on to. And I was like, I'm just keeping that, like, no, just in case I decide to do it again. I was like, no, gone. And it's a really good feeling, actually. But okay, so I need to look at my loft. You'll be proud of me with my drawers, though, because my junk drawer in the kitchen, this is only recently over Christmas I did this. I kept all, like, we haven't had a takeaway for ages, but you know, like the plastic tubs you get from takeaway. Kept all those, had them all in my junk drawer, and then I've got like batteries and like,
well, that's a good idea,
drawing pins. And so when my husband went in there at the weekend, he's like, babe, can't even tell you how nice that is to go in a drawer and just find all the batteries. I was like, well, Kevin, you see, I am quite useful for something. I've got quite obsessed the whole time. I'm a bit like, what's the lady that does all, is it Mrs. Hinch? She does all like the,
no, I am not there. I'm
getting there. Honestly, I only have to watch a freaking TikTok and they're like, get these for your fridge and put your lettuce in them. Make it like, cut up your cucumbers. I'm like, I'm terrible. I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy that because it makes everything more, anything where I can be more organized and make things easier for myself, I will do it. But yeah, so tell us more about anything that we can do within our home to be more candles, plants, anything like that. Does that help with manifesting as well? Like things we can have in our home? Obviously, we're going to talk about crystals as well, but anything else?
So for example, you have your, I think, is it a manifestation or abundance set that you have?
Yeah.
So personally, I would try putting that in your southeast corner.
Southeast, right.
That's where I would put it. If you are looking at family and health, that's the central area of your home. So I wouldn't advise that you burn candles in this central area of your home, because it's like you're burning that energy of your family, which I know sounds a bit drastic, but that's
central part. That's my bedroom. That's why I'm not getting pregnant. I always burn candles in my bedroom. Right, no more candles in the bedroom. Here we go. Learning something new today. No, Kev. No sexy candles, Kev. It's not happening. We're not
sexy candles. The thing is that there isn't a right or wrong, and I think sometimes you might burn a candle, but it's for a reason of creating that lovely, that lovely atmosphere. So it's a case of just going with it. I would also say, when you talk about plants, no to artificial plants. And the reason is because Feng Shui is all about energy and life and creating that energy from living plants. So we prefer living plants, but not loads of them. So one in your bedroom if you wanted one, or one or two, in the kitchen. And there's a lovely plant, I don't know the technical term because I'm not green fingered, but there's a money plant. So that's really good. Or lucky bamboo, that's really good to have around your house as well. And there's some really like old school trinkets that you can have. So if you're wanting to improve the relationship with your partner, you can get, little green jade, either crystals or green jade ducks, and you face them together. So you create the sort of heart with them together. That's when I knew that my husband was fully on board, because he got me that for my birthday.
He's fully in.
He's fully in.
What a legend.
I know. And then just going back to the good and bad energy with your front door, the first thing I always say is, what have you got around your front door? Are all your coats, bags, shoes, and all of that near your front door? Because the good energy's got to get past that.
I love
so
that.
If that's blocking that energy in, then it's really hard for it to come through. But it's the same at the back door as well, because if you've got coats, bags, and shoes all around there, then it can't get out. So I'm not saying you can't have it, but if you can just tidy it. Yeah. And also that gives you the feeling of when you're coming in, for you just to drop your shoulders and be like, oh my God, I can't hang my coat up because there's so many coats on the hooks.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting, because actually we've got a little bit of a clutter going on right by our front door. So that can be, because we've got two offices. Me and husband have got an office. And on the backs of the doors, I've put hooks, because Harley has loads of different coats. We've all got, there wasn't any room in our offices. We've got a cupboard in there for all the coats. So they ended up overflowing out to the front door. And I hate seeing them. It's really, I move them every time I have customers come to the house for clinic. So I would take them all off and then put them in. And then Kev's like, why don't we just get hooks on the back of the doors, like in the offices, and we'll just put his coats on the back of the door. So it's like, create space. But there is still clutter there. There's some boxes and things there by the front door. I'm like, oh, they need to go.
I've given you another job now.
I've given me another job. And actually, girls, if you're as bad as plants as I am, I don't even know the name of this plant, but this only needs watering. The lady in the garden centre said, you need to water it like every couple of weeks. I was like, that is my kind of plant, by the way.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, I look after people very well, but not plants.
Yeah. And I know this is really massively off topic, but I bought mine from an online company called Patch, Patch. And when you get the plant through, they send you a YouTube video as to how to look after your plant. I know. I was like,
love that.
This is me all over. So if you want plants, go to Patch.
You've got to talk to, you've got to bless, like they say as well, like on the moon rituals that we do on the moon calls, if you use moon water in those plants, that they'll like grow even more, like you'll cut all this positive stuff going into it. I love all that sort of stuff. I'm down for all of the witchy stuff and Feng Shui. So interesting. So tell us about your course that you've launched recently. Is it, can they buy it any time, or is it like they have to
Yes. So each month
you girls need to talk about this.
Okay. So each month I have a new theme, and it all relates to those 9 areas of the home. So for January, I felt it was the right time to do Welcoming the Wealth. So this is an online program. It's on my website, thefengshuiflow.com, and there's a video of me, and I just share everything that I know about how to attract all of the wealth, prosperity, and abundance. There's a really special, I don't want to give it away, a special Feng Shui item that I teach you how to put together. It's very witchy. So for some, they're like, oh, I'm not sure about that. But for some, they're like, oh, I love all of this. And I just share everything that I know as to how to attract all of that into your life. There's an ebook and there's also a meditation. And you know, it's funny because I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a really naturally spiritual person, but it was intrigue that has got me to this. And so I've almost tried to prove it all wrong. So all the things that I've put in there are the things that have worked for me. So this month is all about welcoming the wealth. There's obviously the opportunity to work with me one-to-one as well. So if you wanted to go down that full analysis route, then that's what I can do.
And then in February, can they do that? Sorry, can they do that on Zoom? Can they have
it's all remote? Yeah, I do it all over Zoom. Yeah,
this is for me. I'm like totally gonna book her. Totally gonna for the house. Definitely.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's all on Zoom. It doesn't take very long, and it's a perfect time to do it at the minute because at the beginning of February it's the Chinese New Year, and the remedies shift ever so slightly at the beginning of the Chinese New Year. We're going to the year of the rabbit, which is, I don't know if you know much about it, but the year of the rabbit is so in Chinese astrology they had, the theory goes that they had all of the 12 animals lined up and how they then had to cross a stream. And it was their behavior as to how they did that is how we look at astrology for that year. So it's how the rabbit crossed the stream. So the rabbit
crossed the stream. Sounds like we're telling a little.
I know, I feel like I'm on the BBC, was it CBeebies storytelling time? Can you tell I used to be a teacher?
Oh, I love it.
So the rabbit went really enthusiastically first, went over all of the stepping stones, and then was like, shit, what do I do now? It had to sit and wait. And it waited for a log that was flowing down the stream. It simply hopped on it and it took it to the other side of the stream. And that's how it went across. So if you put that analogy into how the year may pan out, it might be a little bit hectic, a bit quick, a bit icky at the start. Yeah, which is what it sort of feels like at the minute.
Yes.
And then we just need to take a pause and just have trust and faith that it will work out.
Wait for that log and just float on.
Wait for the log.
I love that. I never knew that about all the animals. And I've often wondered how they chose them and where the meanings came from. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
I
love it. I love it all.
How can people find you? How can people join up to your course? Tell us the name of your name on Instagram so they can.
So Instagram, I'm at the Feng Shui Flow, and my website is thefengshuiflow.com. And if you subscribe, then you will get the downloads to the different areas of your home and how it's all linked. I've got a podcast now, so I'm sharing all of that on there. Again, the Feng Shui flow. So yeah, I'd love you to be on this journey with me, because I did a soft launch at the end of last year, and now I'm going full on. So it'd be great
the rabbit.
Part of it. Yeah, I am the rabbit.
Oh, I love that. I'm 100 million% going to book a session with you. So stay on afterwards so we can chat about that. But thank you everybody for listening. And remember to leave a review. You better leave a review today. Oh my God. Leave a review for Kimberly as well on hers. Check out her podcast, and I will put in the show notes all the links to her websites and Instagram handles as well. Thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm sending you a huge virtual squishy hug, and I hope today's episode has helped giving you some inspiration, energy, and a light bulb moment. So do share your light bulbs or any takeaways you've had on your socials and tag me in, as I absolutely love to hear from you. So if you love to share, you are going to love my giveaway. Every month I'm running a new competition to win a large moon box packed full of crystals, candles, affirmation cards, incense, my Love Yourself to the Moon and Back journal, and a real surprise of spiritual treats that change every month. So listen up if you want to win and get your hands on this, because all you have to do is, number 1, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Number 2, tag me on your socials with either a post, video or story of your top takeaway of that specific episode. Be sure to tag me in as @Welstead-Green so that I see it, and you'll be entered into my free prize draw. So from my heart to yours, lots of love to the moon and back. Have a fabulous week, beautiful, and I can't wait to spend time with you again next week. Mwah!